Welcome to Offset. Larry and the Big Man, two-time Stanley Cup champion Jay Caulfield. I'm Larry Richert, and we want to thank One Team Media and their team, Mark Connington, Ryan Jorgen, and Logan Douglas, who are producing this episode. Brian Hess is the mastermind behind One Team Media. Thank you, Brian. And Michael Spacciapoli, who runs Odyssey Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and also he said Dave Rourke with Rourke Automotive Group. Thank you so much for being a title sponsor. Lifetime Oil Changes, Lifetime Inspection. They're outstanding. And also Tom Grealish and Henderson Brothers. Thank you so much for being a part of it as well. And part two, Larry?
Two-time Super Bowl champ, Pro Bowler, the Beard, Brett Keisel.
Two-time, baby. Let's go. Round two. Ring, ring, ding. There you go. Round two. Now, I'm going to start. I want to get something quick. We talked in first show, but something you experienced that it's hard to understand what it's like unless you've been in that situation. If you're a player, and I've never been in football, and you're going through film sessions after you've had, even if it's a win and you had a great game, there might be one play out there on that tape or that video that you know might not have been your best. What's the feeling like from you when you're in the room with everybody and they back it up and show you again and say, what might you have been doing here? Not that you had many of those, but what would it like if you ever had one?
Well, that was what made good teams great, I think, was the level of accountability you have with one another and the certain level of, productivity that you want to have with each other. But nobody's perfect. Bad plays happen. You slip, stumble. Sometimes things don't go right. But I used to be so afraid, especially when I was younger. When you're a young guy on the team and, a play's coming, rolling down the field. It's about to happen. It's just like you start sweating and you're kind of like, oh my gosh, here's that play. What's Coach Mitch gonna say? How's he gonna get me? And a lot of times, they light you up. They're like, what are you looking at here? Oh my gosh, how could you make this play happen? And you're right. For me, I always, when sports was happening and when I got to be a professional, I always took notes. Like when I'm watching film and things like that, I always wanted to go back and say, this is what I would do. So when my coach would start reaming on me, I would just be head down, just, yes, sir. I wouldn't even look at the play. You know what I mean? Because I didn't want to see it.
Yeah.
But
and the time when it happened, like you're sitting there going, oh, it's coming up on the 7-minute mark.
Oh,
there's a brutal. I mean, it's especially in the football world. Hockey, there's so many games, and they're going to show something of it. Football was different, and that
football coaches are great too at rewinding it or like slow motioning it. So it's like, dude, you're slow motioning it. I wasn't doing that. My feet aren't crossed over. Like, look at your feet. What are you doing here?
I travel with the Pitt football team, and on the plane, on the charter, on the way back from the game, they already have the plays broken out. So they're watching it on the plane.
Yeah. You see the games now today. I mean, it happens in the NHL as well. The tablets are out. Players want to know because when you're playing and things are going on, you don't want anything kind of holding you back. Like, why did this happen? Or what's going on there? How did that play even happen? You can go watch it, evaluate it, be like, oh, that's how it happened. Then then you're moving on next snap or next shift or whatever. You know what I mean? And and you've learned so much by the eye in the sky. It does not lie. So that thing tells the story. We can come to the bench and be like, well, this happened or this happened. Then back in the day when I first came in, they had pictures. Like they didn't have the tablet.
Cowers shoving.
Yeah, exactly. You used to get these pictures, and I could not stand those pictures because it shows the pre-snap, what you look like right before the snap, and then like a second after.
Yeah.
So sometimes they'd be moving or whatever, and it looks like you're not in your gap. You're like, look at you, you're not even in your gap. And I'm like, well, where's the next picture? Because I get there eventually. And then film. Like we had film. Coach would be like, hey, go get the 9-on-7 plays and all the Kings runs and make sure they're rewound. And I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. I'd have to go to the linebacker's room and get the videotape and be like, can I get that? And can you please rewind it? What do you mean rewind it? He's got a rewinder in his machine.
If you even go back a day,
at least we went through that.
At Opos, it was like the reel to reel, tick, tick, tick. The sound of the reel to reel when you're going, no, not to back it up. So I'm so glad to hear you talk about it because it's unless you've been through it, it's hard to, explain what that's all about. It was a great way to come, take it over. Certainly in hockey like that, if you knew you were fighting somebody, you could look back and go, I didn't realize that guy was a lefty at that moment. So it can catch and show. But it's great to see that. I think it's such a good thing. I think than where it's at. And then that leads us, Larry, to, as we know, we've talked about Brett and everything he's got going on, but the Mighty Oak Farm. I mean, you grew up, your grandfather was a huge part of you being a farmer. You touched on that before and show what.
Yeah, so grew up riding horses and pushing cows that way. We did all the brandings and things like that out there by roping. And so coming out to here to PA, when I got done playing ball, I really was trying to decide what I wanted to do. I had my eye on a couple real nice ranches out in Wyoming, and there was some great places out here too that I'd been looking at while I was playing. And I just felt like it was important to stay here in Pittsburgh and raise the kids here in Pittsburgh. And so I fortunately bought a place out. It's right behind Seven Springs. I say right behind, probably like 50 miles as the crow flies.
Wyoming mileage. It's right behind there.
Right there. But it's so beautiful up there. It's right up, in the mountains, and my property borders some game land, so it feels a lot bigger than what it actually is. But I bought some longhorn cows and some Angus cows, and yeah, I've had so much fun, kind of living that Wyoming lifestyle here in PA and riding around with my cowboy stuff on and my chaps, and like people are looking at me like, that can't be. I don't know. That's a big cowboy that looks like Keisel. But it's just been great. And I mean, we eat our beef, and I've gotten to share a lot of it with friends and family, and I'm selling hot dogs at Do It Best in Ambridge. Like, things are rolling for the farm right now, big man. And it's just been a special place for me to go and get away and do my thing.
Oh, the Laurel Highlands is beautiful. I mean, there's so many people, if they've ever played golf and they play at Laurel Valley, you talk about moments of serene or what's beautiful. That's such a beautiful area. And to do that and what a place that you love and the acreage that you have, and on top of it, you have cattle that you name
After player.
I love it. But the one I want to get out, Jungle Book. First of all, let's get one. There's one name.
Shere Khan.
Yeah.
Shere Khan. I'm glad you're a fan of the Jungle Book too.
Yep.
Big Jungle Book fan. I love Mowgli and Shere Khan and Baloo.
So it's awesome.
Not named after.
It's not Omar. I know it really hurts Omar's feelings. I'm sorry, Omar. I'm still working.
He doesn't have a steer named after.
Yeah, but we have Khan. He's my herd bull. I also have other bulls, which is Dick LeBeau.
That's awesome.
And
It's so good.
we got Bull Cower. Bull Cower is,
That's tremendous.
I got to tell you his story because he was from the first group. And like one of the Rooney family, Tom Rooney, called me and he's like, I got to get Bull Cower. That's brilliant. And I got Bull Cower confession from the internet. Like when it was happening and my calves were coming out, it was kind of like right by COVID.
Yeah.
And I took pictures of these calves and put it out there. I'm like, I need a name for these guys. And so Steeler Nation just starts like throwing out all these names. And one of them was Bull Cower. And I was like, that is perfect. But Bull Cower's down in Florida. Like, he lives the life. He just hangs out with some cows down there. And Dick LeBeau's up at the farm, and Khan's up there, and Palamalamu, and Horns Ward, and I got Nunny, which I named after the great scout Bill Nunn. And so, yeah, it's been fun. Steeler Nation has really helped me with my cow names.
About the colt.
And I got James.
Yeah.
James the horse. James is 2 years old.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I thought it's the greatest thing.
He's I always wanted to train a colt again and take a horse from, birth to riding it and running it around and roping. And
I think Jay should come up and do a little riding and roping.
yeah, big man, you've been on a horse before?
You know what? I went to ride a horse. Believe it or not, I was in Nemacolin with my wife and girls. And they're all going to go horseback riding. And when I went there, they go, whoa, we got a weight limit.
Got a Clydesdale for you.
I go, wait a minute. I've been the same weight basically as long as I'm like, a weight limit. So I was shunned. So no, I have not been on one.
Shunned.
We shunned it.
Well, James was born on May 4th, which happens to be Debo's birthday. And so he was busting my chops about never naming a cow or anything like that after him, like he wanted a bull. He wanted a bull and it to be D-Bull, But I was like, nah, I got enough bulls. But I name a horse after you, okay? James is 2 now. I'm riding him. He hasn't bucked me off yet. I'm sure he will one of these days, but he's doing super. And, it's been great. I've loved growing up a cowboy and, living that
got it back.
lifestyle. It's super.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, that's a rare breed here, and we could tell you love it. That as you love the outdoors, the fishing, and the stuff that you do. I'm curious. You mentioned Dick LeBeau. What was it about Dick LeBeau that your defensive players in particular, obviously, just love this man? Because he has this universal respect that I've seen and heard about for a long time.
Well, it's his charisma and personality. Obviously, you have a huge level of respect for him because he's a Hall of Fame player. His resume speaks for himself when he was playing. He used to love to remind the DBs when they would get an interception, he'd be like, how many picks you got? And they'd be like, oh, I think I got like 15. He'd be like, all right, I got 62, so you only got a few more to catch me.
62.
I love it. It's awesome.
So that was back when they were running. You know what I mean? I mean, fact check that. It's something like that, but it's a lot. And he's still, I think, in the top 10 in the NFL in interceptions. But the way he handled himself, the way he spoke to us when we needed corrected, when we needed coached, the way he started every meeting when we were in front of him during the work week with, good morning, man, it's a great day to be alive. Don't ever forget how lucky we are to have this job. And every morning he would start that meeting that way. And you never lost sight of how fortunate we were to be doing what we were doing because he felt that way and it just trickled down. But so ingenious, too, about finding plays and things to help you win games. I know for a fact we would not have won that Indianapolis game up there in 2005 again without he came up with a call and we ran it like 7 straight times and sacked Peyton Manning every time. And he's just ingenious, but just a great person, like knows your family's names and asks you about them. And, he's not like that with just me. It's with everybody. You can tell he cares about you and wants you to be successful. And to be able to play for guys like that you want to bleed for in a sport like football or a sport like hockey, to play for someone that you care so much about where you will run through a wall for them, it makes such a difference. And fortunately, I had old Dickie most of my career, and we did a lot of great things that will probably never be replicated.
But he was known at Christmas for the night before Christmas and you guys became like little kids.
Oh, yeah. He could transform a whole room of psychopaths, football guys into 5-year-olds, dreaming of Christmas time and snow and snow bells and or sleigh bells and reindeer and, Santa coming down the chimney. Like he could transform that room into that. And that was the gift that he had. Like he had such a persona and still does to this day when he gets up and speaks, it's awesome. And we're just so lucky to have him and what he taught us on a daily basis for that long.
So I'm going to go back into because you look at your games played and everything you've done, the tackles, the sacks, and Super Bowls and Pro Bowl, but I'm going to bring up one interception yet. So you returned 79 yards for a touchdown. Give the general the public a feel like what it's like as a defensive lineman to intercept the ball and run 79 yards and not get. I mean, think who's on the field
Get touched.
Yeah. So
And you always wanted to be a tight end.
Always.
You've got to,
Always wanted
you've
the ball.
got to get that feeling.
I tell you what, it's a play. You know, you always have plays that you remember every kind of moment. And I still remember the play call we were doing. It was a play called dime shoot 8, and we bring the dime player blitzes, and the rest of us flow away. And fortunately for me, you know, my job is to grub the guard and go out to contain. And so I was just kind of getting my guy and going to contain, and he just turned and threw it to that guy. So I was running that way already. And Debo smokes, you know, and the ball just pops up. And I'm like, holy cow, this is happening. You know, don't drop it. and catch it. And I just remember looking up, and it's just green light all the way down. And I looked to my left, and their quarterback was he had an angle on me, you know. But I've never seen Lamar Woodley run that fast in all my life. He kicked it into high gear, and I just slowed down just a touch, and he, you know, like pushed him out of the way. Freeman, I think his name was.
Yeah.
Pushed him out of the way. About that time it happens, both my DBs, Ike Taylor and Will Gay, come blowing by me. I'm like, you guys are really like making me look slow.
Like fighter jets.
I kind of asked for the ball. He's kind of like, here, give it to me. I'm like, get off me, dude. This is my one chance, you know? And luckily they gave me a great, you know, runway all the way to the end zone. But
Awesome.
just exhilarate. Big guys dream about plays like that. You know, you tell people you can make plays like that, but they don't happen very much. And a lot of times when the ball comes up, it's like, just land on it. Don't try and do anything else. You're too big, you know? So it was great.
The late great Andy Russell had a similar touchdown in his career, and his fellow players never let him forget how slow he was. Dude, but he got there.
Yeah.
So, the other thing on another, so fumble recovers too. You know, we understand all the game, but parts of the game. There's over your career, but you know, with Kurt Warner, if you get just a quick. What's the feeling of that when you know you're closing it out? Like, what's that? It's such
the
a great
emotion
show.
of that game. You know, that game really had some really highs and lows.
Yeah.
James' interception right before the half, like such a huge play in the game. We needed it. We wouldn't have won without that play. And then really going into the locker room confident and just like, man, yeah, we got this. And them coming out and us kind of stalling offensively and those guys really moving the ball offensively, and then they take the lead, and then Ben drives it back down and Santonio makes that toe tap at the end.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's still 45 seconds left or something like that. And we're just going, we haven't stopped them this whole second half, really. Like, come on. I mean, nerves were tight.
Yeah.
We knew everyone looked at us as being a great defense. Everyone was like, all year long, you know, we made the plays to get the job done.
Yeah.
But in that game, aside from James's pick 6, you know, in the second half, they moved the ball on us and scored and took the lead. And we got the lead back, and we are not letting this happen. We are not letting this happen. And they made a play and got to like midfield. And I mean, I'm just like, holy cow, I can't believe this is happening.
Yeah.
This is crazy. But old Woodley, bringing him up again, he came around that corner, kept fighting, and popped that ball out. And fortunately for me, I was just, you know, coming back on my rush lane. And I mean, same thing, like my interception, it's laying right there. Like, hey, buddy, here's a gift, you know, good timing being right here and landing on the ball. I'll never forget landing on the ball. And it's just surreal.
Yeah. Yeah.
As you know, that's it. But you always think like, well, was it out? Are they going to call it an incomplete pass? Was his arm going forward?
Yeah.
So you got to go through all the replay stuff too before it's like, oh.
They make it official.
But when they did, I ran over, I grabbed the tub of Gatorade.
She's awesome.
Bill Carr.
Dumped it on Tomlin. And
It's so awesome.
yeah,
So no, the feeling
confetti rained down.
Yeah, explain it. Just the way you talked about it was the greatest thing. It's awesome, really. I mean, that's what I said. Those moments. There's so many things you've done. Those moments probably mirror being on show with Larry and I right now.
100%.
Besides that,
Right.
Never forget it.
but you went to the party after Snoop Dogg was there. That was a little culture shock at first. for some people.
Yeah, well, that's the awesome thing is like a Super Bowl party should be that. Like
Yeah.
you should think all the cool people and celebrities that were at the game that were cheering for you will be at that party. And it is one of the funnest parties you can ever imagine. I mean, it's hard to explain the feeling unless you've been through it, like getting to that mountaintop and being able to exhale and have a few moments of glory. It doesn't happen a ton in sports because you're always trying to get better. There's always the next game or the next opportunity or the next thing you have to do. And when you win a championship, it gives you that second to exhale and look down and be like, we did it and it's forever,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's amazing.
It's like the cup at Mario's house.
Oh, yeah.
Pool.
Yeah.
The
Pool.
legendary stories and having your name on that cup.
Right. And yeah, the cup ended up at the bottom of the pool, turned green. The top was broken. I think when we were holding it up at the one party, I mean, at the point, I believe it was, the cup, you couldn't hold it like normal. And yeah, great experiences and the teammates and all the moments that you have leading up. I mean, I totally, it's something very special. And like you said, to work to get there and what you've done, right, your whole career being here, staying in a city that's you've grown to love to the degree you have. And I said, I don't know. I don't think we said in the beginning, like even Larry's in the morning, but Larry can talk sports. Any given day, we're talking about what's going on in the hockey world, what's going on in the football world. Very, very unique. And again, all your years here that to me is another phenomenal run because it doesn't happen that often. You have one uniform all the time. And congratulations.
Yeah, you got to play with a lot of guys for a long time too. That was such a catalyst, I think, for our success was the team. Some of us definitely could have made more money elsewhere in free agency.
Yeah.
Some of us could have went somewhere else and made some more money. And sometimes business things happen where, you lose guys where it's like, how's this even going to work if we don't have this guy? But somehow, some way, Kevin Colbert and the Rooneys and Cower and then Coach Tomlin, found a way to keep a lot of us together there for a decade in the National Football League. When you're drafting every year, essentially,
Right.
to potentially take this guy's job, so I don't ever take for granted how fortunate we were that the ownership believed in us in a way, but also I was around a group of guys that believed in the team too, that were willing to probably take less to stay and be a part of this team and, to finish the job that we'd started together. So it's tough to do, the business, in pro sports, we joke NFL, it's not for long. It doesn't last long and you got to get what you can get when you can get it. But fortunately, all that is history. We went through it all and it all worked out great because the team, all of us had great individual success and things like that, but the team is what made it. The group of men that had a collective mindset and a desire to be great. You didn't have anyone getting dragged along. The team made it happen. And that's what I love about Pittsburgh is we believe in the team and I preach it today. I mean, when I got done playing ball here, I started a company and it's called Mighty Oak Adventures, and I've worked with Highmark and 84 Lumber and Coppers and a bunch of these great winning companies around here that really care about teamwork and having their team run at a high level and year after year after year trying to be number one, having that mindset. And so it's been great to bring all those stories and lessons I've learned in football and in hockey and the people I meet and push that back out into Pittsburgh here and companies we serve.
It's awesome. Yep.
Goes back to kind of what Dick LeBeau said, to be grateful for every day and where you are. I think that translates to everybody. Little morning gratitude would go a long way.
It's a great day to be alive. Sometimes you get the bear. Sometimes the bear gets you.
Brett Keisel, appreciate your time, Brett. Thank you.
Thank you, Brett.
We're gonna get Jay up to ranch to get on that horse.
Yeah, Jay, you're welcome up at the farm.
There's some rope.
My pond freezes over in the winter. Maybe we could have
There we go.
pond hockey.
Okay, there we go.
I'll dust the skates off.
Love to do it. Absolutely.
We want to thank One
Thanks,
Team
Peter.
Media with Brian Hess and Odyssey with Michael Spacciapoli creating this strategic partnership.
Yeah, and also we said Dave Rourke with Rourke Automotive and Tom Grillis with Henderson Brothers. We can't thank you enough. And again, Brett Keisel, we can't thank him enough. Really appreciate it.
Thank you guys. Loved it.
Offset, Larry and the Big Man, and Da Beard. Take 2. That's a wrap. Peace.